Dumelang bagaetsho. As already introduced, Kibidoa Ishmael Thaga, and I currently head Transformation, one of the local consulting firms, which I believe is one of the biggest, and one of the talent that they have exported into the diaspora just a few years ago. So I am delighted to be here this afternoon with this esteemed panel of highly experienced individuals in as far as technology is concerned in Botswana. In Botswana, mining isn't just an industry. It's part of our national identity and a key driver of our economy. As we look to the future, it's imperative that we embrace innovation to ensure sustainability and continued prosperity. Today, our esteemed panelists will guide us through the next generation of mining, exploring how connectivity, digital infrastructure, and automation are reshaping the landscape. We've talked so much in the last 1.5 days around the future of mining in our country. We've talked about upskilling, smart partnerships, and this afternoon we're going to dwell into infrastructure as well as discussing issues around how we are doing as a country, and ultimately also benchmarking on global best practice. So this isn't just a discussion about technology, it's a conversation about Botswana's future. Let's delve in and explore how we can build a smarter mining sector in Botswana. Allow me to introduce my panel. I have Nwako, who is the Managing Director for Abaricom, coming from a digital infrastructure perspective. A round of applause for him, please. I'm also joined by Stephanus, who is a Senior Instrument Specialist from BITRI. A round of applause for him, please. And then lastly, I'm joined by Molemisi Sechaba, who is the Head of Information Management at Debswana Diamond Company. A round of applause. I will run this panel in such a way that I'm going to ask my panelists here a few questions, and then as they respond, I expect you to also be jotting down questions, which I will give you an opportunity to then ask at the end of the session. So please make sure that you have a couple of questions to ask. This could be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, because I believe these individuals here are not easy to get, so please make use of it. So starting with you, Nwako. What foundational role does digital connectivity play in enabling automation and smart operation in mining? What I'm saying is, please define the importance of having the right infrastructure to digitize mining.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Moderator. I guess since we have people here, one way or the other, are aware of what really happens in a typical mining environment. In a typical mining environment, there is actually a very chaotic situation where you have complex, siloed networks. You have issues of where mines have to adhere to certain regulations and compliance. They are challenged with issues around safety, health, challenged with productivity, challenged with issues around different systems, interoperability of these systems. That's the typical mining scenario that you currently have. And for us to be able to now have a fully integrated digital platform that enables this chaos to be structured and ensure that we have proper productivity, efficiency. Most importantly, as mines are getting deeper and deeper and we are going underground, the safety of people is paramount. It's important that we have an underlying infrastructure that is digitized, that enables real-time information, that uses new dynamic capabilities around technologies such as 4IR to ensure that we create this operational efficiencies, we make our mines safer, and we use new age technologies, 4G technologies, ELTE technologies, and 5G technologies. So it's imperative that we have that type of digital infrastructure to ensure that we create future mines that are safe, efficient, and productive.
Thank you so much, Nwako. I would like us now to look at this from a research perspective. You know, currently as Botswana, we haven't been doing too well in terms of R&D, but I believe there's so much that AI and machine learning can really contribute towards really making our minds very smart. And I would like to hear from yourself, Mr. Coetzee, to say, what is the importance really of AI and machine learning in making sure that our minds are smart?
In simple terms, AI is a hungry beast. You have to feed it to keep it happy. Now, one of the things that we have in any institution, and the mines are no different, there's a lot of knowledge sitting at the mines. Historic knowledge, people knowledge, all of that needs to be turned into a format that the AI can actually work with it. So if we look at the research side, it will happen on three fronts: digitization, digitization, digitization. What I mean with that is that, like I said, your knowledge that you already have needs to be transformed into a format that you can feed into the AI system. You will need smart partners that you will have to engage with in order to help you with what's happening on the ground, to work with real-time feedback from the processes going on. And that research not only is limited to the mines, but it's also to the suppliers. A good example for that is the Volvo J series, which was launched last year, I think, which comes with a co-pilot system, which is AI-assisted driving. You can modify it. And I will see more and more of that happening of the main suppliers into the mining industry, where they do research on their own in order to supplement the mine with equipment which is already AI compatible. The other bit which will happen is what here at BITRI, where we do a lot of research, especially in mineral liberation. We can do pilot planting, all of that, but it's happening without AI. So we actually need the mines to come into a smart partnership, bring AI on board from the beginning to have all that information available. We have heard through the past that upscaling is happening in some of the mines. In that upscaling, you needed AI to have been part before you upscale. So that research part which is happening before you go into production, AI needs to be part of that from the beginning. That is where I see the research and the future is going in that perspective.
Thank you, Steph. Now, we move on to Sechaba. You know, Nwako has talked about the importance of having the right infrastructure in place. And Coetzee has talked about where AI comes to play and what needs to happen in order for AI to function properly. I'm quite interested in knowing what you have done in Debswana in as far as automating the mine is concerned. So much has been said about Debswana over the last few years. And I believe it's one of the benchmarks in as far as automation is concerned in Botswana mining sector. So I'd like to hear what you have done over the years. Thank you.
So at Debswana, our stated mission is to be a global benchmark diamond business. And so when we formulated our One Dream, One Team strategy in 2020, which has come to an end, we have always seen digital transformation and innovation as one of the core pillars of what we wanted to achieve. And so for us, digital transformation is not technology enablement. It's about making sure that that strategy then and beyond comes to life. We went through a series of strategic choices where we wanted to establish and clarify for ourselves the extent to which we really wanted to take people away from harm's way, the extent to which, as Sarah Mutale said earlier, we wanted to contribute to the green economy and our SDG goals. We wanted to look at what does it mean from our people perspective. And so after a series of those conversations, we settled on a number of capabilities that we believed are important if we're going to have a smart, connected mine. We developed a blueprint that articulated what we believe will take the business forward. And so one of the first things that we did, Nwako mentioned it, we looked at our connectivity. We had disparate network systems, radio-based, unlicensed. And so we invested quite heavily on an LTE network, long-term evolution. To our knowledge, we are the first to roll out an LTE network in the world, and we are very proud. But what it does is that now we can take connectivity as a conversation out of the boardroom. All our assets are connected, our trucks, our fixed plant, and that enables capabilities that I will talk to shortly. One of them being predictive maintenance. We have invested in a predictive maintenance capability because repair and maintenance is one of our biggest cost drivers. And so we are able to anticipate when an asset is likely to fail rather than running it to failure. We have also implemented an autonomous drilling system. Whereas in the past we have one drill operator running a single drill rig, now you can have one drill controller running 7 drill rigs at the same time. The important thing that I want the audience to notice is that we have removed men and women from harm's way. Because now instead of running this drill in the pit, you can run it remotely from an office environment. And so when we say that any life that is lost, any person that is injured in our business is one too many, that is the commitment that we are making. And we're using a digital lens to achieve business outcomes. And so those are some of the capabilities and use cases that we believe are a first set, a first batch of how we can demonstrate to our workforce, to ourselves as the leadership, that indeed we can have a digital, smart, connected mine, and that there are business benefits that can be accrued when we apply ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you. I know the interest in most boardrooms is always about, okay, please, a round of applause for them, please. The conversation around most boardrooms is always, how much is this going to save us? And I'm quite interested in knowing, indicatively, what was the range from a savings point of view with all these technologies? Because, for a lot of organizations or for a lot of executives, it's always, how much can I save this? Sometimes for the good of the company, but obviously sometimes it's for a good bonus, But the honest truth is, I'm quite interested in knowing what the savings were.
So let me start with safety. As I said, Ishmael, in our context, you can never put a price to an injury or, in the worst case scenario, to a loss of life. We run some of the safest mines in the world. The trajectory, our head of sustainability is here, has been something that is, by global standards, very good. But anytime we hurt an individual, we believe, even with that good record, we can still do more. So from that perspective, on the safety front, that is the return. But the other part to it is that now you can design your slope angles such that it becomes economic to mine. Whereas previously, because you have to consider the people that are working in the pit, now you can design such that if we lose a drill rig, it's a problem, but it's a property damage. We don't lose lives. If you look at the predictive maintenance, we had anticipated that by year 4, we are in year 3 or 4, we would have had 600 million savings. We have already achieved that, you know. And part of this savings, Debswana had given itself a 10 billion big, hairy, audacious goal that said we'll have a free cash lift of 10 billion over and above our operational expenses and any other money that we have. We achieved 10.8 billion, and some of it is coming from initiatives such as your predictive maintenance. You cannot be in a position to quantify in dollar terms how much data throughput, data connectivity gives you, but the ability to innovate, the ability to connect our assets and build onto that is an untold benefit that we believe is very important. So I'm not going to stand here and lie to this audience to say it's cheap, that you are always going to get benefits in monetary terms, but it must be understood that some of these benefits takes quite a considerable amount of time. Our purpose has been to set up this business to navigate through the current slump, but also to build for the future. And I believe that foundation has been set. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, sir. So, coming to you, Mr. Coetzee, it's, you know, Sechaba has actually stated that, you know, their biggest desire is to be a world benchmark. And they are on their way there. So I'm quite interested in knowing, from your perspective, beyond, or rather looking at the entire mining industry, what needs to happen for us to reach global standard level?
That's a bit of a difficult question. I think the easiest to address this may be to look at Rio Tinto, the mine in Western Australia, which is to me the golden standard in AI mining. They've got by far the largest fleet of AI manned vehicles. It sounds a bit odd for us, but you have to understand the level of it in the sense of their drivers are driving the trucks in the mine 1,200 kilometers away from the mine. So what we need to do, we've got a very good example of what they do. And the question always is, like you said, cost saving, what is the implications? Now, if we look at it, they reduced the maintenance by 15%. Now, maintenance is not just predictive maintenance. There is a new term I hear starting to be used. It is predictive precise maintenance. It's not just taking a vehicle or one of your yellow beasts for maintenance. You're doing precise maintenance. You replace only the parts which are necessary to maximize your uptime. Now, they've also been able to reduce their water and energy consumption by 30%. Now, the one which I am excited about is that they've been able to cut down exploration cost by 50%. And as being at BITRI, we're working together with Zeiss Germany in order to build a predictive model for looking at exploration and diamond indicating minerals by looking at the glass slides using an AxioScan 7, and then we use that data, feed it into the AI, it will make some prediction. We will do then analysis on XRD, XRF, SEM, EDX, and then learn the model. It's not like that AI comes out of a box, like you plan, do family planning, you get a baby, it comes in a box, you dump it on the tar road, and it starts winning Olympic medals. No, there's a lot of grow up and training needed to get to athlete. And the same applies to AI. It's not a ready solution out of a box. You have to own your models. You have to develop it in-house. You will have mistakes. You will have learning experiences. And you will grow and you will become a world leader.
All right. And then, Nwako, still on that very same question, I want you to talk about the infrastructure as well as the regulation that needs to be in place to really make Botswana mining sector world class.
So, if we have to look at the current situation in terms of how do we make sure that we up our game right across the mining value chain to be able to have that Rio Tinto that Dr. Coetzee has spoken about. One of our biggest challenges, it's that of regulation. Sechaba spoke about moving away from unlicensed spectrum to licensed spectrum. So this is similar to if you had to travel from here to Francistown and you had your own highway that takes you to Francistown. It means that there will be a guarantee of quality of service because you will get to Francistown. There'll be no malfeits on the way. There'll be no cows on the way. It will just be your road. And if it's going to take you 3 hours, depending on the type of car you're driving, or 5 hours, then you are able to do that predictive precision maintenance that Dr. Coetzee is talking about. And that's why spectrum is very, very key to enable that predictive precision. It's very, 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 very key to also enable that cost savings, that savings of lives that you need. So I think an alignment with the regulator to be able to provide effective spectrum that is totally for the use of the mining industry. It's very, very key. So that's one of the first things that need to be done. 2, the biggest challenge around digital transformation, it's that of security, cyber security. As Dr. Coetzee has spoken about AI, it's contextual. If I had to ask you now to type into ChatGPT and say, "Homiame irobegile, idire yang. My cow has just broken its leg. What should I do?" It's probably going to tell you that you should take a plaster of Paris, cement, and put it around your cow so that you could mend the leg of that cow. But if it's contextual and it's Botswana AI, you will talk about Thobega. Those of you who are Botswana understand what Thobega is. And it's done out there in our merakas, in our masimos, in the farms. That is indigenous knowledge. So that's why AI is contextual. It needs to be taught. So we need to have AI policies in place that speak to our context and to our needs. We need to have cybersecurity policies and enablement that ensures that there is full protection of information that emanates out of our resources. You know that mining resources by their own nature are a competitive resource at a global level. How do we protect that data? That's the key question. So that's why we need to have cybersecurity policies that will ensure that we protect our data. So at the present moment, we also have to ensure that the mining ecosystem is able to influence the country's digital agenda, which is something that is currently on the table as we speak. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We've given this ideal state of a mining sector from an technology automation perspective. But one will be interested in knowing what are the potential limitations to achieving this? This question is actually directed at all of you. I'm quite interested in knowing what would stop us really from achieving this ideal state of a world-class mining sector in Botswana. We can start with yourself, Sechaba.
No, thank you.
And as he responds, please get ready with your questions because we'll now be moving to the audience for questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much once again, Ishmael. So some of the limitations that we have is change management from a people's perspective. What we have learned as we embarked on this journey is that we need to bring our people along. Sometimes there is resistance, not because people don't want to, but because they don't understand. People might be fearful of potentially losing their jobs, just an example. And so it's imperative for us to be able to articulate how the impact of any initiative that we work on will impact people. How do we retool and reskill people such that, instead of being a drill operator, as I said, you can transition to be a drill controller, an automated drill controller. You can be the person that is teaching an AI model the intrinsic knowledge that we have as people who run these assets on a daily basis, right? Secondly, we particularly now, we are struggling for capital. Many of these initiatives, aspirations come at a significant cost. And so when you have to make a trade-off between building a new plant or having a new digital capability under these subdued market conditions, you might have to settle for something that you know that is proven, right? Rather than saying, okay, if we are going to build for the future, eventually I'm going to get my returns back. And lastly, we can not overemphasize the importance of having clean data that can be used to drive decisions. It is still a problem. With that, obviously, Nwako has articulated cyber risk. It's a real risk. If there's anything that certainly keeps most of technology leads, CIOs, CEOs at night, it is that risk because it's clear and present. And I think it's important that we also imagine in the Debswana context, what will Botswana be when we have removed the last carrot out of the ground? And so it's important that we continue to invest in the education of our people. We invest in the right skills, such that these limitations that we are talking about, it is the people in this room, it's the people that are coming after us that are going to make them really non-issues. And I'm very hopeful that if we do that, we will be on the right track. Thank you.
Thank you. In agreement with you, AI is not coming to take our jobs. It's actually coming to bring better jobs for us. And I believe it also comes with a better pay, So all those menial jobs that used to happen, AI will replace them, and then we start doing more exciting jobs in our different workplaces. And I do agree with you that the very same people that are in this room are the same people that can remove all these hurdles. And it's up to us as a country or as people living in Botswana to make sure that we collaborate to remove some of these hurdles. A law shouldn't take 3 or 4 years to be enacted. we can literally make a law and actually even promulgate it within a month, you know. But it's us. It's going to take us to really change the way we see all these things for all these limitations to be removed. Dr. Coetzee, let's hear from yourself.
I fully agree. The biggest stumbling block are us. Because it comes with a cost, we don't have enough money to implement it. It comes with new skills, we have to learn new skills. Then there is the fear factor. Because just as swords, bows, horses have been replaced by riflemen, tanks. So as technology changes, the whole environment we live in changes, and new skills and costs come to the playground. So that fear and cost implication and new skills make it very difficult. Then the one I battle with personally is trust. To trust an AI to help you to make the right decisions. And I think we still have a long way to go to get the trust issue sorted. AI has got some problems in the sense of it's built into a box. It lives in a box. And it can only think within the box. We are still outside the box, and I do not see that AI replace us, but rather that AI becoming a trustworthy companion, help you to make better decisions, faster, saving lives, cost, and money.
Thank you. Over to you, Nwako.
Going back to the issue of cost, which seems to be definitely a reality, especially in the context of where we are as a country now. You read every headline, the country is broke, the country doesn't have money. So we need to be very open and embrace different methods and ideas of how we are going to finance these new technologies. Adopting these new technologies, it's imperative. It needs to be done now to sustain the future of our mining, as we've already spoken about the advantages of digital transformation in mining. But it's really the funding models that we need to be open to. We need to now be very open to triple Ps. We need private sector funding to come into the technology space in mines. We need operators, we need mines to be open to moving away from capital investment in technology, but towards having a service model where the risk sits with the service provider and they just manage the service level agreement. And by so doing, we can see in a very short space of time an incremental, or rather very exponential, adoption of technology right across the mine value chain. But most importantly, we also, as we talk about transformation, we should start thinking about making difficult decisions. We need to probably start looking at ourselves and saying, what should be the retirement age in Botswana? Should we really be having subsidies, models for youth development funds, or should we be moving out of jobs and ensuring that youth get employed? Because they are the ones that we need for this new age thinking, new age technologies. We estimate that with the right framework and legislative reforms, in the next 2 years, we can create plus 100,000 jobs just out of digital transformation, mainly driven by cybersecurity, AI, blockchain, and some of these other technologies. So it's real. We sit with a 37.6% youth unemployment. But if we did this investment and we are deliberate about that, we can retool all these youth graduates and they can become the cybersecurity specialists, the analysts, the blockchain developers, and all these other developers. And then let us allow the 50 pluses to retire, and they are the ones who get subsidies for this youth development fund. Probably we change it to elderly development fund. And we need to make those hard decisions if we really want to transform. We need to look beyond ourselves and say what is right for the country. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't think the over 50s are happy with you right now. I'm just going to go to the audience and take about 3 questions. If there are any questions for the panel, please, you can raise your hand and then the roving mic will come to you. Please introduce yourself and where you're coming from, and then your question, please make sure it's very succinct. All right, we have one question here. Any other questions that, okay. Then there's one there at the back. I can borrow you mine for efficiency.
Thanks, Ish. You got me scared because I turned 50 yesterday, so, no. Anyway, my question is around, my name is Mutusi Tladi from 26 Digital, and I'm also in the board of Bofinet. So my question is around retooling. So my question to you is on the retooling space, is it, from a mining perspective, aren't we also looking at having the mining engineers themselves, whether it's metallurgists, mechanical engineers, mining engineers, and so forth, also retooling into AI? And in addition, in terms of transforming the country from an AI perspective, we've seen other countries take deliberate steps to have AI as part of their curriculum, from an early stage, from primary school, high school. So probably, my suggestion would be probably one could look at having, start up with a pilot, 1 or 2 schools in primary school, 1 or 2 schools in high school, so that we see how things go. But all I'm saying is we need to have a sense of agency in that. So the primary question is around whether that retooling, is it just to just tech skills, but should we also be retooling, someone like Mr. Coetzee as well?
Thank you, Mr. Tladi. So the interesting thing is with mining engineers, metallurgists, they actually don't need permission from anybody to be retooled. They do it themselves. I had an interesting conversation with the heads of technical services the other day, and they're saying when they do the career panel reviews, all the mining engineers have already studied data science, they have studied data analytics, and they don't see themselves growing in the path where you want to be a senior or processing manager or head of mining. They actually want to play in the data science space. And it's an important thing. My position is that people that have got domain expertise, they augment that with AI, they become quite versatile and they become quite competitive. I will leave the second part of the question to Nwako, but in final remarks, just to thank the audience for their participation. Thank you, Ish and my fellow panelists. I think these are conversations that we need to have. They're not easy, it's not sexy. But believe me, if we want to make Botswana a competitive country in the global stage, this is precisely the type of conversations that need to be had. Thank you.
Okay, I think digitization in the mining space is not an option. It has to has to happen. Technology, there is a word in technology called digital twinning. And effectively what it means, it's that you are able to take a whole mining environment, looking at the whole value chain of mining, including the services part. And you are able to digitally twin that, put the whole mining operation onto a digital platform. And meaning that you are able to then use different type of algorithms, interventions to determine how you are going to operationalize your mine. So in real terms, transformation, retooling in the mining industry means everybody. You have to be able to be skilled in analytics, as Sechaba has rightfully said, and all the other tools that will enable you to now digitally mine, because that's really the future. The future is digitally mining so that we can achieve those objectives of safety, efficiency, and of course, cost savings and productivity. But most importantly, we have to be deliberate as a country around the foundation. We have no choice. We have to go to the STEM route immediately. We have to ensure that coding is taught at elementary level. It must be standard in all schools, from primary schools. We need to ensure that AI is taught in primary schools, blockchain. Nako tsa go kgona go name or go bua gore tsie leitlho la yona le ha kae, those days are gone. So we need to ensure that our kids from standard 1 are equipped with the right skills and tools to make them competitive. So STEM has to start at the lowest level. Thank you.
Okay, Doc, your final words? Your final words, Doc?
I fully agree that a lot needs to be done, but the best custodians of our future is our youth. And the best custodian of my household is me. And like it's already said, it's up to us to make the change within us and learn the skills that needed in order to cope with the changing world that we live in. We can be sure of 3 things: death, taxes, and change. And it's up to us to embrace change.
Thank you so much, Doc. So we've looked at the landscape of Botswana, the current status quo. We've also looked at the desired state, what needs to happen. We've also looked at the limitations. So, ladies and gentlemen, as we part from here today, let's go out there and remove all these hurdles for us to achieve this desired state. Thank you so much. Please have a good day.